90% plus people feel that leadership is important. And what is the special importance of leadership in COVID situation? Because in the COVID situation, COVID has had an impact on an overall way. Macro impact, government policies, ecosystem, health and safety, and of course my family. All the realms have got affected by COVID. So if you look at it as before COVID and after COVID, what is our reality today? First, unprecedented global health and humanitarian crisis. What we are facing today is something which is larger than even the Second World War or the 100 years ago, 1918, there was a Spanish flu. This is something bigger because everybody on the earth, the 7 billion people who are there on the earth, everybody is affected. So this is something which is unprecedented. There is a lot of uncertainty. We really do not know what is going to happen. My daughter is a fashion textile designer. She works for BlackBerry. And you know that retail is very badly affected. Fashion is very badly affected. They have already reduced 40% of their employee strength. Though she is still there in the BlackBerry role, really you do not know what is going to happen tomorrow. We do not know when Mr. Modi is going to open the sort of lockdown and when we will be able to walk around. So there is a lot of uncertainty. Many companies are closing, many difficult things are happening. So literally it's like good morning, let the stress begin. Every day when we sleep, we think कि कल नई सुबह है, अच्छा दिन आएगा, but there is turbulent and stressful environment. And what we have to accept and understand is a possibility of a changed world forever. That means what? This is not like a small vacation. 2 महीने में घर बैठा, like you guys used to get a great chance being in academics to sit at home for 2 months during the summer season. And then you go back and then it is business as usual. College is normal. Abhi ऐसा होने वाला नहीं है. Even when the college starts, you know very well, social distance. You cannot go to the canteen and chill out and put your hand on each other's shoulders. This is the reality. There is one new word which is being coined, which is the new normal. Business as usual is dead and there is a new normal. So the world will change forever. So let's look at a second poll. And the poll question is that what is the impact of COVID on business? You are all business students. So I'm asking you, nothing that we cannot recover from very soon. That is number one. Or is it that some sectors are affected badly? Third choice is many sectors are affected badly. And the fourth choice is it has been the same across all the business sectors. So Minoti, can you please launch the poll and can we have people voting? Minoti, how many people had voted in the last poll?
Around 42 out of 53. Now there are more people who have joined.
Very good, very good, very good. So that means people are voting. That's a good sign. So please also vote for the poll number 2. I hope we have more voting than 42. So Minoti, just keep a track and we'll give it another 5 seconds. And after that, we'll stop it and then we'll move forward. So the countdown is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And please close the poll, Minoti, and let us see the results.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Minoti.
Yeah.
So the results are there in front of you. Again, 60% feel that many sectors are affected badly. 24% of the people are very good optimists. They have a very positive feeling that this is not something which we cannot recover from. Yes, overall we will recover, but the question is how long will it take for us to recover and what will happen in that intermediate period. Please understand that in the immediate future, many organizations are going to shut down. there will be a lot of difficulty which people have to face. Because remember, 60 plus 22, 80% of the people are telling us that sectors are affected, some or many. So this is the reality of the thing. So Minoti, can we close the poll and then I can go back to my presentation? Okay, good. So many sectors, this is a very complicated slide because I've tried to capture a picture from one of the reports. This is a report by Kotak. And it shows you that if you look at sales for the year-on-year results, sales, EBITDA or profit after tax, most of the sectors are negative, except for the IT services. That is the only one which has a year-on-year growth and there is a development. So the same question which I had asked you is reflected also in this slide. There is a very high impact on transportation industry, on hospitality industry, and on retail industry. Hospitality, because who wants to go out and eat in a restaurant today? Transportation, because nothing is available on the highway. Retail, because it will involve contact and nobody wants to do that. Some manufacturing companies did start in some small way. But interestingly, this COVID has also had a positive effect on some business sectors, like technology. Everybody requires collaboration tools. People are really, even teachers, school children, today I require a laptop because their classes are online. So I know my niece in Pune is actually trying to buy 2 laptops for her 2 daughters because both classes are happening at the same time. So technology sector is growing, software is growing, healthcare is growing, and pharma industry, because we require a cure, and whatever cure is suggested on WhatsApp, we all immediately go and buy that medicine, right? So these sectors have had a positive effect. But in this context, leadership is all the more important. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you are a leader. John Quincy Adams, one of the presidents of the US, the 6th president, if I'm not wrong. If your actions inspire others, dream more, learn more, and do more, and become more, then you are a leader. So these are very tall requirements of becoming a leader. But a simple way to understand leadership is the ability to facilitate movement in the needed direction and have people feel good about it. चाबुक लेके भी किसी को एक डायरेक्शन में ले जा सकते हैं, but people will not feel good. Hitler was also a leader, but what he did not leave people feeling good. So the good leader is one who is able to take people in a particular direction, but also make the people feel good about it. So here I want to tell you one more story. This is a story about 2 brothers. They both had inherited some farmland, and the elder brother used to not get very good results from his farm. The younger brother was employing the same number of people, but he was getting very, very good results from his farming. So finally, one day the elder brother swallowed his pride and went and asked the younger brother, भाई तुम क्या करते हो? ऐसे कैसे होता है कि तुम्हारे लोग तुम्हारे लिए अच्छा रिजल्ट्स लेके आते हैं? Your farm is very good and my farm, I have the same number of people working in the farm, but I don't get good results. So the brother basically told कि भैया आप आपके कामगारों को बोलते हो जाओ और मैं मेरे कामगारों को बोलता हूँ आओ. I lead by example. I go with them. I stand with them in the field. And because of that, obviously, they deliver great results. When a leader is good, many times after the project is over, the entire team will say, we did it. And the leader will also keep quiet. He will not try to take the credit. He will feel it is basically the team's credit that we have achieved a particular result. So intentionality is very important. Accountability is a personal choice. and it has to be leader-led and top-driven. Okay, so I'm now showing you some examples. This is Kumar Mangalam Birla. Some of you will know that. Kumar Mangalam Birla, at the age of 28, suddenly Aditya Vikram Birla died because of cancer, and at the age of 28, he had to leave his education and take over the business. When he took over the business was 1.4 billion US dollars. Today, this AVB group, Aditya Vikram Birla Group, has a turnover of $45 billion. 1.4 billion to $48 billion. How does it happen? Because he led from the front. He was the person who said, "Aao." He was the person who was very, very actively involved in whatever new businesses they were getting into and in the growth plans for his business. The second example I want to tell you about is Narayan Murthy. You know, we all know that Infosys has got many hundreds of sort of crorepati working with them because Narayan Murthy has given them stock options, right? But this man still stays in a two-bedroom house. He has not tried to move away from that. Whenever he travels abroad, he travels economy. Because he believes that though I may be owning this company, I may be a multi-crorepati, leadership is a responsibility and it is not a position. You know that the birds which you are seeing, some of you may know it, they fly in a particular sort of formation. And the intention is that if the bird who is at the right at the front is taking the brunt because he is going against the wind. All the other birds get protected because they are under the wind shadow of that front bird. So they don't have to take the same effort. But the interesting thing is the same bird does not go on taking that leadership position. It is a responsibility which it follows for a little while and then it changes and it goes to the back and somebody else becomes the leader. So leadership is a position. Narayan Murthy also tried it. You know that he left. Unfortunately, it did not work out too well, but he is a person who definitely believes that leadership is a position. Mr. Ratan Tata, okay, pet dream was to make passenger cars. They were doing very well in commercial vehicles, but he wanted to be in passenger vehicles. They came out with Indica. Indica did not do well. When it did not do well, Ratan Tata with his whole group of people went to Detroit to meet with the Ford executives. And he offered them, yeah, we are not doing well in Indica. We would like to sell you our passenger car business. The Ford executives insulted Mr. Tata. They told him that when you did not know about the car business, why did you try to get into it? So you should not have gotten. Let's discuss tomorrow. At night, during dinner, Mr. Ratan Tata told all his team, look, we will remain in the car business, we will focus on the cars and we will become successful. That night they changed their tickets and flew away, came back from Detroit and came back to India. He launched his very favorite project of Nano. If you think about it, Nano as a concept, it's a fantastic concept. 1 lakh rupees, there is a four-wheeler car available to the Indian market. What is better? You know, you must have heard about the vehicle called Lexus. Lexus vehicle का जो stereo system आता है, वो stereo system change करने को $2,500 लगता है. And in $2,500, Ratan Tata was offering a car to the Indian public. Amazing. Unfortunately, it was not branded properly and the car did not do well. But today, you know very well that the number of different models which Tatas have come out with, and they have become one of the largest car manufacturers. When they took over JLR and Land Rover, I think all of us as Indians felt very proud that these iconic brands are now Indian. They are owned by Tata. So leaders always think long term. And just because Ford business people laughed at him, they do not shirk. They overcome adversity. Mamta Banerjee created a problem for Nano manufacturing in Bengal, Ratan Tata did not give up. He came to Gujarat and set it up, right? So you need to overcome adversity. That is what is the sign of a good leader. The next example I want to give you is of Mr. Azim Premji. Like our friend Kumar Mangalam Birla, Azim Premji was studying in Stanford and he heard from the news items that his father has died. His father was running a Western Wipro, full form is Western India Products. They had two products. They had sunflower oil and they had 787 soap, which was a byproduct of the oil manufacture. This was the only thing. Mr. Premji came back and he realized that he cannot sustain the business like that. He diversified. When IBM went away in 1980, he realized this is a good chance and he got into computers. And after having got into computers, he shifted to software. Today, Azim Premji and Narayan Murthy and TCS actually are the back office to the entire world because of their capabilities in software, right? Just as an example, just look at this number. This giving pledge was started by Mr. Bill Gates and Mr. Warren Buffett. And he is one of the people who has signed up for it. And he has donated 2.2 billion US dollars for education. Yeah? So he's also had to face a lot of challenges, but they overcome that. And that's why he said that if people are not laughing at your goals, then your goals are too small. You must have very, very large goals, audacious goals, like our next example, which is Kiran Muzumdar Shaw. She was a topper in the Australian college where she studied brewing. But when she tried to join a brewery, people told her brewmaster is a man's job. So she was very fed up. She was about to go to Ireland to sort of set up. And that time she met this Mr. Leslie Auchincloss and she started Biocon. The first day that Biocon opened on the stock exchange, it is one of the two companies which has a market value of 1.11 billion. Swimming against the stream, taking on difficulties, moving forward. That is the characteristic of a leader. Every leader needs followers. You are seeing that. And some people, unfortunately, do not get the followers at that time. You know very well, Sachin Tendulkar was an excellent batsman, but he was not a good captain. He understood it and he gave up captaincy. And on the other hand, Virat Kohli excels in both the things, right? So every leader needs a follower. And when you have a good set of followers and you are able to give them a direction, you can be a good leader. So that is the challenge of leadership. So what are the competencies which are required for leaders? One is clarity, because they need to give direction. Second is agility, because they need to think and move fast in the changing world. They require visibility. People need to see them as leaders. They should be authentic. They require accountability. And finally, they require empathy. They should be caring. They should understand, right? So with this, I'm coming to my next poll. What is the most, according to you, out of these five, which is the most important competency which is required by a leader? Can you please vote? I know that's difficult. All five of them are important, but please vote for one. Decide amongst these five, which of the five is the most important and give your vote for that. So Minoti, can you launch the poll? I'll give you a little additional time for this poll because it is difficult. I appreciate and understand that. But please vote for one. Clarity, agility, visibility, accountability, or empathy. What, according to you, is the most important competency which is required by a leader today? So let's close the poll, Minoti, in 5 seconds. So I'll start the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And please close the poll. Can we have the results?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So clarity has got 45%. Accountability and empathy is 32%. Incidentally, I as a HR person also voted for empathy. But some people have said agility and visibility is also important. Okay, what is the number which has come is not very important. Okay, now, Minoti, please close the poll. What is the number which has come is not important. What I wanted to drive as a point to you is all these characteristics are important for a leader. A leader will need to display all of this, just like these darts, more than one have reached the bullseye. Similarly, all these things are important for a leader at different points of time. So think about this whitewater raft. I don't know how many of you have done this experience, but it is a lifetime experience. Please do it once. Zindagi bhar mujhe thanks bologe. If you are on a whitewater raft and it is available in the Ganga, it is available also in Gujarat. The question that I have for you, when you are going down a whitewater raft, just imagine, who is the leader on the raft? Is it the person behind who's wearing a red bandana because all the others are wearing a yellow bandana and he's looking forward? Is it the person in the front? Is it the person in the back? My answer is, typically when I ask this question, this is my takle aam, this particular slide. My daughter says that I show it everywhere because I think there is a lot of learning in this. I get three answers. One, nobody is the leader. भगवान जैसा कोई है ही नहीं, ऐसे ही दुनिया बन गई, ऐसे ही दुनिया चल रही है. There is no leader. We don't know who's in charge. Second answer is the red bandana, the one in the front right, the one in the back left, because they are a little different from the others. But the right answer is that we are all leaders. Everybody on the raft is a leader because everybody has to take action immediately, because unless they take action, the raft will crash against a stone and get into difficulty. So we are all leaders when we have to accept this, and which is why we need to understand the trends which are there in the new world for the leaders. What are some of the main trends which we see today? First is me. Earlier emphasis used to be what can I do? Today it has changed to we. It has become more of team working. Distance has led to proximity. You are sitting somewhere, out of the 40 odd, 50 odd people who are there on the call. There is a friend of mine who's there all the way from Calcutta, and there are some others who are in Thana and some others who are far away in Mumbai. Distance has led to proximity. Still, we are talking with each other. We are engaging with each other, and we are able to. And this is what has happened with this work from home, remote technology, right? And the third thing, which is also very, very important as a trend, you have to have the expression of gratitude. Literally, I tell you, every day that I wake up, I thank God that I'm still alive. I thank God that still COVID has not reached me. I thank God that I'm getting some food. I thank God that I'm sitting in a nice house where I have a roof on my head and I'm not worried about the next meal. Expression of gratitude. Same way, all the people who are working to build organizations, the government which is helping us, think about the police which is exposing their own self to so much of risk but trying to keep us protected. Look at all the doctors and the nurses. We have to have, as leaders, we have to have gratitude for them and accept what is their contribution to making our life easy. And what will drive that? One, the values of everybody. Second, mutual trust, respect, and empathy. Third is clarity. Fourth is ability to learn fast, because the world is changing around us. So you need to keep changing and keep innovating. And at the heart of it all is compassion. You have to understand the other person, feel for him, and really think how you can help and support him. Which is where I take a lot of inspiration from this Dalai Lama's quotation. If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. You cannot be far away from compassion. It's compassion which will make the world go around. So with this, I'm coming to the last poll that I have. How do you think will be the future? Remember, we had to talk about four things: leadership, challenges. These two things we have talked about. Now we will really go into trends and directions. So how do you think will be the future? Will it be predictable, more of the same thing? Or will it be uncertain, very confusing? Or will it be challenging, but we can learn and grow? So Minoti, please launch the poll and let us open it for voting. Okay, so countdown begins. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Please close the poll. Can we have the results, Minoti? Okay, thank you. Fantastic. Challenging, but we can learn and grow. I'm very happy to hear this and see this result because this is very correct. We have to look on future as challenging, but something which we can overcome. Because if हम ही दुखी होके बैठ जाएंगे, nobody else is going to come and take us out of the woods. So it is challenging, but we will overcome. That is what we need to remember. So let's come to the last two sections, the directions that we need to understand. What has happened in the new world? First major change which is happening, which is metamorphizing the new business world, disruptive technologies. Yeah? And for people like me, these are things which we don't understand, but it is affecting us. So we have to cope. We have to try to come to terms with it. Changing business models. And finally, convergence of industries. So let's look at all these three architects in a little bit more detail. It is said that by the CEO of DBS, DBS is a bank. At DBS, we act less like a bank, but more like a tech company. Every company will have to be a tech company. Bangalore boasts educational Baiju. I used to always see the ads on the TV and I used to wonder, what is this Baiju? How can they afford Mr. Shah Rukh Khan as their brand ambassador? Their market value is 37,000 crores. It's a pure tech company and abhi to unke bahut hi अच्छे दिन आ गए because everybody is trying to learn from home. So this is one thing. But these disruptive technologies are going to affect and change the business in a very, very different way. There is a lot of it. One, cloud computing. This was what was leveraged by Mr. Azim Premji and Narayan Murthy when they became the back office for the whole world. Internet of Things, yeah? Robotics, lithium batteries, enhanced oil recovery, artificial intelligence, whole host of them. I'm not going to spend any time on this because I'm an HR person, but I'm just telling you, these are all things which are changing the world of work. They are going to really shape what is going to happen in business. The second aspect is the business model innovation. The middle one you will recognize as Apple Music, iPhones, and you know that before that people used to buy records or buy cassettes to listen to music. iPhone, Apple was the first one to say that you subscribe. Why do you need to buy anything? You just pay us a small fee and download the music. Earlier, people used to make different shops. They used to own shops and they used to own restaurants. McDonald's was the first one which said, why should I own these restaurants? I will tie up with Vikas and I'll tie up with Jose and I'll tie up with Kabir and I'll tie up with Lina and I'll tie up with Minoti. Let them buy the infrastructure. I will give them a franchise to run McDonald's. I will maintain quality of the product. I will give them training, but they will run their own businesses. Totally different way to look at business, right? The more interesting thing is the copier, which you are seeing on the right side. Today, copiers are very small, but some of my Siemens colleagues are there and they will remember we had a very, very big copier machine and you had to, there was a special photocopy operator. But the machine was very expensive. So a Siemens or a multinational like Lever could afford it. But afterwards, they also started thinking, should we really pay so much for this infrastructure? Because how many copies do we take? So Xerox came out with a new business model. We will come and keep a machine in your office for free. We will not charge you a single rupee. We will only keep a track of how many copies you are taking and we will charge you 50 paisa per copy. So there was a counter inside. But they kept a lakhs of rupees equipment free in the different companies. Business model innovation. So you see the point which I'm driving, and that is really what C.K. Prahlad's new book is all about. Where he says that there are three main themes which are happening in the new business. Pay as you go, product as a service. We'll talk about it, so I'll not spend time now. Platform pay, co-creation. And the third most interesting one, which I like the most, N is equal to 1 and R equal to G. What does this mean? N equal to 1, all of us have studied statistics. N equal to 1, population is only 1. And R, resources are global. So you will use global resources to make every customer happy. For every N is equal to 1, you will customize. You will do things differently. And that is what is meant by N equal to 1, R equal to G. But let's look at the other two things. Rolls-Royce is now not selling its jet engine. They are telling the airline people, you take the jet engine for free. You fly with the jet engine and depending on the number of air miles that you clock, we will charge you. It works very well for the airline because they are not investing into something very heavy. The sort of maintenance of the air engine is also kept by Rolls-Royce and it's a win-win for both. Product as a service. Same way Michelin, tire company, is now saying, don't buy the tire. We'll give you 4 tires and you use it. If it cracks or if it breaks or if it gets something, we will replace it free of charge because it is our tire. But you pay us for the number of kilometers that you run the tire. Pay per kilometer. Product as a service. Right? So this is a very different model of business. Yeah? And some of you would have read Lord of the Rings and the Fellowship of the Rings. So Frodo says to Gandalf, I wish this had not happened in my time. And Gandalf replies to him, so do I. And so do all who live in such challenging times. But it is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what do we do with the time that is given to us. That is all that is there in our hands. We need to find solutions. So Air Asia, you know, as a low-cost airline. But can you imagine their business model is much more. They have actually turned over not only running an airline, but they are also into venture capitalists. And under airasia.com, they will book a sort of transport, local transport. They'll send a vehicle to pick you up to go to the airport. They'll send you a vehicle at your destination. They will do hotel bookings. They will fix dinner arrangements for you, because they know which is the best place to have dinner. If you want to see a theater, they will book tickets for you. So they have actually created all this. So from airlines, they have really moved. Total change in the business model. So they have a shared SEAs, shared services, and they do all these other activities under that SEA. So it's no longer only an airline. They are doing things very, very different. Same way, Domino's, at one time they said they want to be the best pizza delivery company in the world. 23 million, this is US data, but 23 million active users and anywhere ordering platform. But today, what they say is we are an e-commerce company that sells pizza. You know what is happening, right? Uber today is saying Uber Eats. Everybody is now trying to expand their delivery and really think what more services can they do. Swiggy is not only getting you food from different restaurants, but it is also getting you chawal and atta and gehu from the neighboring grocery store. So these are the things which are happening. People are very radically changing. Amazon is amazing. Another example, their mission is to be the earth's most customer-centric company. And even in these difficult times, number of us have relied on Amazon and they have always delivered, right? So leaders will have to enable the companies and the employees to make the journey from today to tomorrow. That is the direction, that is the trend which we need to understand. So leaders engage and enable and empower employees and the teams to deliver to the customer expectations. Finally, it is always the customer. You need to ensure that customers' requirements are being maintained and they will co-create the future operating model. Today, possibly the leaders also don't know what is the solution. As they are doing things, they are experiencing and changing things on the fly. That is the interesting part which is there in today's times for the leaders. So what do the leaders bring to the game? The depth of their passion. They have to believe that we can do this. Like 100% people said, it is challenging, but we will overcome. They will have to search for proficiency. Who can do this? Get the right set of people. Demonstrate a conscious choice to perform, and they need to continuously be productive because costs have to be brought down if the customer has to be kept in the game. So this is my last theory slide. For his team, what does the leader deliver? This is from a Gallup survey. Gallup did a survey and asked lakhs of employees in today's time, what are you looking for from the leader? And the employees all came back and said they are looking for 4 things. One is trust. Second is compassion. We talked about compassion. Third is stability, because nobody wants uncertainty. And the 4th is hope. Yes, we will see the end of the tunnel and things will move forward. So this is what the Gallup survey showed as the leader's requirements, and I thought I'll share this with you at the end. So finally, what does it mean? It's not an easy task to be a leader. You really have to be a superhero. It is a tough job. It is a difficult job, but let nothing dim the light that shines from within. You know, this is a quotation from Mary Angelo, and you need to understand that solutions is what you are going to be paid for, and a leader has to find solutions. So at the end, I want to end with this calligraphy from my dear friend Adil Malia. He says, Zamir Zinda Rakh, Kabir Zinda Rakh. Zamir is integrity. Kabir is greatness. Kabir is not only Sant Kabir. The word actually means greatness. So Zamir Zinda Rakh, Kabir Zinda Rakh. Tu Sultan bhi ban jaye, to dil mein Fakir Zinda Rakh. That is the way in which we will be successful in the future, and we will be able to overcome the challenges which are there before us. So this is my email ID. For those of you who want the presentation, please drop me an email and I will send it to you. And if you refer to it one more time, my effort would have been worthwhile, and whatever I have done for you, मेरे को भी अच्छा लगेगा कि इसका कुछ फायदा हुआ. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It was really engaging session. I would request the participants, if they want to ask any questions, to please ask the questions.
Minoti, I'll stop sharing.
Sure, Vikas, you can stop.
Yes, participants. Questions? Okay, we
Arnab
have
sir,
one.
namaskar.
Sir, this is Kiran here.
I didn't know you were also on the call.
You had shared many books, but which are the good books to go through for leadership?
Lina, I just want to say 1 minute.
Yeah, yes. Yes, sir.
Shirodkar sir, one of excellent presentation and insight to leadership.
So are there
And
any
probably
questions?
you
We
are
can
touched
spend 5
right
minutes on
topic.
questions.
Congrats, very well done, sir. Very, very informative. And I think this is what is required for today's generation. Very nice presentation, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, we had one question actually. Someone was asking the question about the book. Hello.
Yes, Leena ma'am, there was a question from some gentleman.
Yeah,
Sorry,
about the
sorry.
books. I think he was
Yes.
asking. Vikas sir, actually, one gentleman was asking.
Sorry.
the
I
question.
did not realize that I have not. Yeah, now I can hear you.
Yeah. Sir, we had a question from a
Yeah.
gentleman. Can we have the question, please?
Yeah. So it was a very nice presentation. The examples which you set were very right. We'll try to go through their company, how they have run and their experiences. But which would be the right book for us to understand leadership and to follow?
That is a very tough one. Actually, because different aspects. This is a area where there is so much of continuous research going on, where different people have come up with different types of theories about leadership, and this is a body of knowledge which is continuously sort of moving forward. But I think that today, actually, sort of the Hershey and Blanchards and all that have become very old. Not much point in talking about that. But C.K. Prahlad is a very good person to follow. Dr. T.V. Rao from India has also done a lot of research on leadership, and he's not into books, but he has come up with a lot of articles on leadership. I can send, if you send me an email, I can send you some links, and I would love to share that with you.
Great, sir. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Shirodkar, can I just, the time is short, I know.
Hello?
Yeah, but can you hear me, Mr. Shirodkar?
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
hear you, yeah.
Pradeep this side. See, I would have really, this is a little wild thinking, like from a national perspective, like the broader environment how much it has to really impact the leadership style of people, like one extreme example I can give, like the North Korean president is there. Now, how in North Korea the leadership can develop, with the kind of leadership the president exhibits. Today, if I have to really, I don't want to sound myself biased, if we talk about the most powerful nation, the leadership there, where we see that many occasions, we see the leader does not really give the facts. He does not talk about the truth. How does that impact? I think it's a really far-fetched question, but because I have to ask to the guru, so I thought that I will take this,
Sure.
Yeah.
No, I think you raise a very basic fundamental point, because finally organizations operate in a context, right? So I 100% take, it's not a far-fetched question. 101% it is very fundamental, because organizations in North Korea will be very different from organizations in South Korea. We all know South Korea, there are so many international brands which have really captured the whole world, whether it is LG or it is so many others who have really done very well. But North Korea, we have not had any such. Why is that? Because their literally leadership has got bottled. So political leadership does have an impact on the economy. I am not at all denying that. But in my opinion, I think what sort of I have always operated more at an organizational level. And I have a faith that even like, let us put it in this way. You take even a relatively open economy like India, where some organizations do extremely well and some organizations still falter. This is so politics will create a context, political leadership will create an environment, but within that, individuals have to still take responsibility and really move forward with responsibility and accountability. Because if individuals give it up, then it cannot be mandated. Let's put it that way. Even in most of the totalitarian regimes, if you see, economy did not do too well because there were vested interests. There were smaller groups of people who tried to take personal advantage of it, and the populace did not give the benefit of the economic development to the rest of the population. So my model is more, let us look at individual organizations and what can we do within that, accepting that somewhere there may be a constraint, you may operate within a context, but we need to take that effort to try to make a positive difference.
Thank you, sir. Actually, I asked this question because COVID-19 were actually lot of governmental interventions everywhere, all over the globe, would be very important today to really take it forward, even in the organizational level. So that was the genesis of asking you this.
No, very true. Like in the beginning, when the economy, when the lockdown started opening up and organizations were allowed, we know very well that even the healthcare companies, pharma companies, I consult with some of them, they had a lot of difficulty. Though on one side, the Modi government and Uddhav Thackeray is telling कि we will give permission, but then the local collector and the local police, they say कि नहीं, तुमको मालूम नहीं है कोविड इतना जोरों से फैल रहा है, हम लोग परमिशन नहीं दे सकते. So these are challenges. 100% they are challenges. I think individually each of the organizations have to find a way and try to move ahead.
Yes, sir. Of course.
Because sir, there are a couple of questions in the chat box. If I could tell you one by one, there are 4 questions. The first question is, a big factor for a leader is building trust.
Yes.
How can a leader help build it in his or her team?
Okay, very good. Very, very fundamental. Compliments to for asking that question. I think the most important factor of leadership and what will make a difference today is trust. Okay, and the only way to build trust is what Ramdas Swami ne bola tha. Bole taisa chale tachi vandavi paule. Walk your talk. Your actions and your words have to be in consonance. Do not make commitments which you cannot fulfill. And if you say something, ensure that you are doing it. That is how trust is something which will get built brick by brick, action by action, day by day. And it can collapse in one moment's time, right? So we have to take a lot of care that we are doing the right thing when we are talking about trust, and actions will deliver trust.
Yeah. So Vikas, that was a question by Ameya Naik. The next question is by Mr. Amol Tope, who is asking you, who is your role model leader?
That is a really tough one. My role model leader, I don't want to mention the name Amol, but I will mention the characteristic of that, my role model leader. My role model leader will be very, very people oriented. He will keep people and their interests far above any business numbers. He will take the people with him. He will always say aao. He'll never say jao. And he will be a person who will go out of the way to ensure that the people are looked after and doing well. Because if such a leader does that, then their people will really contribute very much and sort of do. I, I was fortunate in my life. Why I'm not mentioning a name, because then it will unnecessarily give a wrong signal to somebody else. There are so many people who have taught me, who have been great leaders and from whom I have learned, that it will be difficult for me to mention one name.
Agreed.
Yeah, because the next question is by Pawan, who is asking, how does or should a leader handle failure?
100?
Failure.
Failure, okay. Again, a very good question like Amir's question. Because remember, when you are trying to do things in uncertain times, failures will happen. Okay? Never be afraid of failures. I have a formula which I say that use failure as feedback. Whenever there is a failure, learn from it. Understand what went wrong. How can I do things differently so that I am successful? How you handle failure is give the confidence to the team members. This is very, very important. Okay. That finally the leader is not going to be able to do everything. His people, his team members should have the confidence that I can experiment. I can do something. I can try out new things. Some of it will not work. ठीक है, वो मुझे मार नहीं डालेगा. शायद एक हाथ डांट तो पड़ेगी, थोड़ा कान खींचेगा, but afterwards he will try to help me come out with a right solution. So how you handle failure is use failure as a learning experience.
Next question is by Kumar, who is asking, can you suggest 2 or 3 important factors to bring in accountability across all levels?
Okay, this is actually a very big subject, but let me attempt and let me try. See, for accountability, what needs to be defined is clearly what are the deliverables. You know, many times we say that person is not showing accountability, but he doesn't know what is to be done. So first is define very clearly the deliverables. Secondly, there must be the right resources which are available through which the person can achieve the task. If you tie up the person's hands behind and tell him that he should have a boxing match, he's not going to win. So the resources have to be there. So first is define that goal. Secondly, give the right resources. Then give the sort of support as things are happening. And finally, do recognition. Accountability will happen only if every time that person gets a sort of hand on his back and he's complimented for having done a good job, then he will go forward next time and try to take on more tasks. So accountability, in my opinion, requires all this.
Because there's another question from Saurabh Dikshit, who says, why in other countries do companies survive for a longer duration, but in India they don't? Is this because of leadership failures?
Okay. See, first and foremost, I don't totally buy the basic premise that in India things do not survive. For example, you know, the Birla group of companies. For example, the Tatas, Jamshedpur, and what has happened in this thing, Tisco is something amazing. You know, Tata Chemicals, India Hotels. There are many examples of organizations which have survived for a very, very long time. Right? Why organizations survive or do not survive is also because of the business environment. In the so-called developed countries, they have been through a particular phase of development and they are in a more stable environment compared to the uncertainties which are there in India or in any of the developing countries. It can be true for Vietnam, it will be true for Malaysia, it will be true for Thailand, right? So because of that uncertainty, if the leaders are not taking the right decisions, they are not thinking long term, then some of the organizations will collapse, they will fold up and they will close down. So if the leaders think long term, then the companies can survive, because if you think long term, your decisions will be different than if you think short term. And for success or failure of the organization, 100% I will give the credit or discredit to leadership. It is because of leadership that organizations will survive or not survive. I have had the fortune, somebody up there likes me obviously. So I have worked for Siemens, which is a 125-year-old organization. I worked for Johnson & Johnson, which is another 125-year-old organization. I worked for General Motors, which is another 100+ years organization. So what differentiates these? It is the focus on the long term, doing what is right by the customer and focusing on the long term. When leaders do that, then it won't go wrong. That's my opinion.
Tejal Mane has a question. She is asking, sir, what according to you would be the most challenging part of being a leader?
Most challenging part is again going back to that same question of the trust. Because you are a leader if you have followers, if your team is with you, if they are going along with you. As practicing business managers, we all have different types of challenges. Sometimes there are different decisions which you do not agree with, also you have to be implemented, right? In any organization, this happens. How does the leader maintain the trust of his employees and people with whom he is working during this period? In my opinion, that is the biggest challenge, because rest of the things are relatively simple. You know, you can get resources today, you can get money, you can get a lot of technical expertise. What you cannot get is the heart of the man. And for that heart of the man, to capture that heart of the man, you really require to build trust.
Vikas sir, two more questions which have come in the chat box. One is from Amya Naik, who says, what according to you should be the relationship quotient between a leader and his or her colleagues, friends, or authoritative, or something else?
See, first and foremost, there is an authority. That is why he's a leader, right? He's the boss. So I think that is not something which उसको जताने की जरूरत नहीं होती है. People know that I am reporting to XYZ. He is the boss, he's the vice president, or he's the president, he's the general manager, whatever. So that formal structure is something which is there to help you do your job. But what is much more important is definitely building the relationship, sort of being the role model for the employees, and ensuring that you are getting a share of their mind and share of their heart. To me, that is much more important as a leader.
One of our students has a question for you. Komal Jadwani has asked this question. How different has your experience of leadership been throughout these years and now in the current situation?
Okay. Current situation, unfortunately, I cannot speak from personal experience, because now I'm a consultant, right? I'm not in a practicing organization. I don't have responsibility. So in consulting, I of course do deal with leaders, but today it is in a different way. I have to give them guidance, I have to give them advice. Whether they do it or not is really the responsibility of execution is not with me. It is within the company. The type of leaders, if you are asking me the type of leaders, I would tell you that I have learned I have been an HR person for 34 years. Out of that, for 17, 18 years, I have been in hardcore industrial relations, dealing with workmen, dealing with unions, dealing with union leaders. The rest of the 17, 18 years, I have been in corporate offices, wearing a nice tie, wearing a jacket, and dealing with very nice people who are educated and this thing. But I personally have seen leaders everywhere. all the people who have come into my life are people who have taught me some nuance or the other of leadership. There were some people from whom I said कि ऐसा करना नहीं चाहिए. This is a negative role model. So you learn from that also, no? It's not always that you have got a positive role model. From somewhere you say कि यार ऐसा धंधा मैं नहीं करूँगा. And from many other people you learn कि Baba, this is a very beautiful way in which he handled it and you go ahead. So types of leaders, बात करने बैठेंगे तो बहुत time जाएगा. But let me just tell you, everybody is a leader. Who was the person who asked this question, Vinodi?
This was Komal Jadwani's question.
Okay, Komal, I would request you, please drop an email to me and I'll send you a very, very beautiful story again of Junaid about the leader and who's a leader. Okay, but it's a very long story, so I don't want to go there just now.
Because
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Because there's a question from Vaishali Pardeshi ma'am, who is asking you what kind of leadership is required during a crisis situation. Pretty
Okay.
close.
Okay, good, very good question. Because the characteristics of a crisis leadership is not the same as in the other times. There's no doubt about it. I think in a crisis, you have to be very much focused on the deliverables. What is the result? What is the goal which you are working for? Secondly, you have to be very decisive. You have to be very, very decisive. Because you don't have the luxury of going on analyzing and thinking and saying, "Main soch ke batata hu." No, you have to be decisive. You have to move very fast. So that is the second thing which is there in a crisis leadership. The third thing which is very important is accepting that I do not have all the answers. This is a very big mind shift change for a leader. In a crisis, everybody is learning on the fly. As things are happening and developing, you are trying to understand. So he has to have the ability to be decisive, but at the same time be flexible. Agility, what we are talking about. Yeah. Agility means that, okay, I am ready to change. Okay, I don't have all the answers. I will listen to the other people. And so the last part of the crisis leader is the team building and the team bonding. He has to carry. This is a time when you have to reach out much more. Vaishali madam, somewhere else I had said this, that I have a strong objection to this word of social distancing. It is foolish. It is not social distancing. In crisis, you have to actually not do social distancing. What is the right word is physical distancing. Yes, I will maintain my distance from you physically because I don't want to infect you and I don't want to get your infection. But socially, I have to reach out even more. The organization that I'm working with, where working from home happened for the first time, we had to train managers. How will you operate in this working from home? Which is when you will actually reach out much more, talk to people, and not all the time say कि तू computer पे बैठा है कि नहीं, तू मेरा Excel sheet बना रहा है कि नहीं. ठीक है, he may be feeding his dog, or he may be boiling the milk for his wife. No problem. Accepting that, but ensuring that you are in touch, literally on a daily basis. We have encouraged our managers that you have to be in touch. So social distancing, so that is the last thing, that you have to actually go closer to your team.
There is another question from someone, I can't, the person has not written his or her name. How to win hearts of employees or people?
Be yourself, be authentic, be genuine, be truthful. Yeah? You can never win the hearts of people by promising them additional bonus or additional increment or promotion or anything like that. If he sees that you are sincere about your job, तुम काम चोरी नहीं करते हो, तुम खड़े रह के काम करने के लिए तैयार हो, and you are leading by an example, that is the best way to reach the hearts and minds of the people. Okay, shall we close it
Yeah.
or last question?
There are no questions in the chat box now. I've
Okay.
read out all the questions. If anybody has a question, that could be taken up as probably the last question.
Yeah, if anybody wants to take up, we can take one last question. Or if anybody wants to ask something, like or say something. Yes, we
Yeah,
have one
there's
question, sir.
there's
This
one
is
question.
from Shilpa Kulkarni.
Yeah.
She's asking, how can leader take care of the mental health of the members?
Okay. Good. Good question. Firstly, mental health is again one more thing in answering Vaishali Madam I did not mention, but the crisis leadership also requires you to be concerned about the mental health of the employees. Right? Mental health is very important, and how you can look after it is different thing. People, organizations have done different things. They have created what are called EAP, employee assistance programs. They have appointed counselors. They have appointed doctors to whom you can reach out. There are, I know of cases where some people were so much agitated and concerned that they were actually contemplating some harsh action on their own body. So these were contained through this. So how you maintain the mental health is again going back to that earlier thing which I was saying, continuously remaining in touch, telling that person that we understand what you are going through. You know, all of us are stressed, right? There is today nobody, if the person doesn't have stress, then check his pulse. Mar gaya hoga shayad. You know, if you are alive and you are trying to do things, of course you will have stress. So the way to do it is continuously remaining in touch, engaging with them as we move forward, and giving him the reassurance that the organization and the team will be with you whenever it happens. You know, I'll give you an example. I am a consultant, as I told you. I consult with a very young organization. You know, very, very young organization. Average age is 27, 28. Okay. Only the owner is 30 plus. Now, as soon as this lockdown happened, every week, they are not responsible for my mental health. No, I am a consultant. Unko kya farak padta hai? But every week, 2 to 3 times, I'll get a call from the owner of that company. Mr. Shirodkar, are you okay? Do you require anything? Thane mein hamare log hai, kuch chahiye hoga to hum, we can arrange that for you. This gives me a lot of boost. This gives me, though I don't require anything. Fortunately, my sister is there, my wife is there, there is an infrastructure, my nephew is there. So, but the thought that somebody cares, that they reach out and try to tell me that if there is any problem, just let us know. My daughter suddenly thought that she wanted to come from Delhi back home. Genuinely, I just said, Ki Baba, what should we do? They found out the flights which are there. They found out the rules. They found out what is required to be done, what e-pass needs to be taken. I felt so good. It looked after my mental health, right? It gave me a very, very big boost. So those are the things, you know. So show concern for the other person and be genuine and truthful. इसमें आपने छक्के पंजे किए तो you will lose out for a very long time.
Thank you, sir.
Leena ma'am, if I could just have a word, people who are listening on this webinar, please do read the Airbnb case, because it is an amazing example of leadership, and the actions the leader took there are there for all to see, because they had a huge layoff, and the case has been put up on Google. So please do go through that for excellent leadership actions.
I think we are done with the questions. Anybody would like to give it or say something about the session? Okay. Okay, sir, it was I, on behalf of Kohinoor Business School, IQAC, and Kohinoor Management School, would like to propose a vote of thanks for such wonderful insights. And the session was so engaging and so much thought-provoking. We had around 12 to 13 questions coming up, sir. And I think there would be some more questions which we would like to tell the audience that they can write to you, sir, or write to
Sure.
us, and maybe we can because you have opened up so many avenues for thought processes, sir, like right from the skill, from the experience to the applications. So the session was really wonderful, sir. I thank you and the participants once again. And I also would like to take this opportunity to make a special mention of thanks to Preeti ma'am and Minoti ma'am, who have really helped me with this session actually. So I thank you once again to one and all. Please be in touch, stay safe and take care. Thank you so much.
Bye bye, everybody. All the very best.
Thank you, Vikas sir.
Thank you, Shirokar sir.
My pleasure, boss.
Thank you, Mr. Shirokar.